In previous evaluating powers of a negative integer, in previous videos, we looked at powers that had a positive integer as the base, such as 8 raised to the second power. Here the base is a positive 8, which is an integer, a positive integer. Now to evaluate it, if you remember, we had to change this to the expanded form, which shows the 8 being multiplied times itself. In this case, 2 times, because the exponent is 2. And then we simply multiply, carry out the multiplication to get the value of the power. So in this case, we get 64, a positive 64. But we now want to look at a power that has a negative base, a negative integer, say like negative 8, okay, raised to the second power. Notice that I use parentheses to enclose the base. That's because if you don't show a base, if you simply write negative 8 with a little 2 on top, then that has a very different meaning, and it's not the same expression. I will explain in a moment why we need to put parentheses around the negative 8. Okay, in fact, we have to use parentheses around any base which is not a positive integer. Okay. So now let's look at how to evaluate a negative 8 raised to the second power. If I write this in the expanded form, I will write negative 8 times negative 8. As expected. The negative 8 appears as a factor twice. Now, in order to multiply, we need to know the rules for multiplying positive and negative numbers. So we need to recall the rules for multiplying positive and negative numbers says that if we multiply two negatives, a negative times a negative, I will get a positive. Also, if I multiply a positive times a positive, I would also get a positive. But I will get a negative if I multiply a positive with a negative, or a negative times a positive. This will give me a negative answer for either one of those. So, the rule simply states that two negatives or two positives will give me a positive. When you're multiplying two factors and they carry the same sign, that means both negative and negative, or both positive and positive, then we will get a positive. So here we're multiplying a negative with a negative, so I expect this to be a positive. Now, because it's a positive, there is no need to put a positive sign. Okay, so I will remove the positive sign and simply write 64. And that's basically it. We have just found the value of negative 8 raised to the second power. Let's look at another example. Here I have a negative 5 raised to the third power. So here in expanded form, I write negative 5 times negative 5 times negative 5. And if I were to multiply negative 5 times negative 5, I will get a positive 25 because I have two negatives. But now this positive 25 needs to be multiplied with a negative 5, the last negative 5. So here no longer am I multiplying two numbers with the same sign. Now they have different signs, so it's positive times negative, which will give me a negative. Now the number I get, I find it by multiplying the absolute values, which are simply the numbers without the sign. So here is 25 times 5. Okay, 5 times 5 is 25 and carry a 2. 5 times 2 is 10 plus 2 is 12. So my answer will be a negative 125. And that is my answer. Okay. Now let me explain this in Spanish. Queremos sacar el valor de unas potencias cuando la potencia tiene un número negativo como base. So aquí dice evaluando potencias de un íntegro negativo. Habíamos visto antes íntegros positivos subidos a una potencia. Por ejemplo, aquí tengo un 8 subido a la potencia 12. El 8 es positivo. Multiplico 8 por 8 y me da un 64. Pero ahora lo que quiero yo sacar aquí es una potencia de un número negativo. So quiero sacar la potencia de un 8 negativo subido a la potencia 2. Fíjense que aquí estoy mostrando el 8 negativo encerrado en paréntesis. Así debe de ser. Eso lo voy a explicar un poquito más después. Pero quiero advertir que cuando no se le pone paréntesis, entonces es otra expresión que tiene otro valor diferente. Si yo lo que quiero es que la base sea negativa, tengo que encerrarla en paréntesis. So, aquí voy a poner 8 negativo por 8 negativo. Y para hacer esta multiplicación necesito recordar las reglas para multiplicar números positivos y negativos. Cuando se multiplican dos negativos o dos positivos, el resultado sale positivo. En cambio, cuando se multiplica un positivo con un negativo o un negativo con un positivo, no importa en qué orden aparezcan, siempre sale un negativo. En el primer ejemplo aquí, el 8 negativo, siendo que tengo un par de negativos, voy a sacar un positivo, 64. So, no es necesario ponerle el signo de más, porque el número sin signo indica que ya es positivo. So, este es un 64 positivo. Ahora vamos a ver lo que pasa cuando tengo un 5 negativo subido a una potencia de 3. Aquí se repite el 5 negativo 3 veces. So, voy a multiplicar el primer par de 5 negativos y me da un 25 positivo. Pero si lo multiplico con el tercer 5 negativo, entonces ahora tengo un positivo con un negativo. Y tengo que dar esta regla. Esta regla me dice que voy a sacar un negativo. So, multiplico los dos números, o multiplico los valores absolutos, que es nada más 25 por 5, y me da 125. Y 125 sale negativo por la regla. ¿Ok? So, multiplicando un positivo con un negativo, me da negativo. Okay. Now I want to explain to you why it's necessary to put parentheses. When you write a negative 8 with a little 2 on top, you are saying that the negative is not the 8, but the 8 raised to the second power. It is important to put parentheses to clarify the base. Clarifying the base means that what you want the base to be is a negative 8. So here the base is a negative 8. Here the base is negative 8. But if you write it without without the parentheses, then the base is not a negative 8. The base is a positive 8 raised to the second power. The negative is being applied to the whole square. So here the base is just an 8. It's a positive 8. Here I'm multiplying two negative 8s. Negative 8 times negative 8, which gives me a 64. Positive 64. But here I'm multiplying a positive 8 and then making everything negative. So I'm multiplying in, or you could say that you're multiplying with a negative 1. A negative that 8 times 8. But 8 times 8 is a positive 64. So this is saying make the 64 negative. This is saying make the 64 negative. So my result is a negative 64. As you can see, we get different values. ¿Okay? Aquí lo que quiero explicar es que cuando le ponemos paréntesis a la base, es para clarificar la base. Cuando no lleva paréntesis, dice otra cosa. Aquí dice que el 8 negativo es la base. Aquí la base es 8 negativo. Pero aquí, sin paréntesis, la base es un 8 positivo. Lo que es negativo es todo la potencia. Toda la potencia es negativa. So aquí lo que dice, multiplica 8 por 8 y luego hazlo negativo. So, el 8 por 8 me da un 64 y con el signo de menos me sale un 64 negativo. En este caso, lo que estoy multiplicando es un 8 negativo por un 8 negativo y me da un 64 positivo. So, estos salen con diferentes signos. Eso quiere decir que no son iguales. Okay. Now, what I'd like to do now is to look at some other powers of negative numbers and see what the exponent is telling us about the sign of the value. Let's look at the negative 1, for instance. And if I raise it to the second power, as you would expect, it's negative 1 times negative 1, which becomes a positive 1. Okay? But if I take a negative 1 and I raise it to the third power, then I'm multiplying 3 negative 1s, which will give me not a positive 1, but a negative 1. The first 2 negative 1s give me a positive 1. But that positive 1 is then being multiplied with a third negative 1, and that's going to make it a negative 1. So the value of negative 1 raised to the third power becomes a negative 1. Now let's look at negative 1 raised to the fourth power. So here, as you would expect, is multiplying negative 1 times negative 1, again times negative 1, and then again times negative 1. But what do you expect the answer will be? Since we have two pairs of negative 1s, you're going to end up with two positives. And multiplying two positives will give you a positive. Let's see. Negative 1 times negative 1 gives me a positive 1. So these two give me a positive 1. But then I need to multiply it with the next negative 1, which makes it a negative 1. But now I have a negative 1 here and I'm multiplying it with the last negative 1. So I have two negatives and that's going to be a positive. So my answer will be a positive 1. So you may be now looking at something that appears to be making a pattern. First we get a positive 1, then a negative 1, then a positive 1, then a negative 1, then a positive 1. It depends on the exponent. If the exponent is an even number, this is an even number. Even. Now you remember what even numbers are? 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, etc. Okay, if it is an even number, then it's going to end up with a positive number because we're going to have only pairs of negative signs. But if it is odd, here is an odd number, odd. Now the odd numbers are like 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, and so on. odd numbers will end up with one factor that doesn't have its negative pair. So we're going to end up with a negative 1. So what do you expect the negative 1 raised to the 5th power will be? Because 5 is odd, then it will be a negative 1. And a negative 1 raised to the 6th power will be a positive 1 because this 6 is even. So now this is a cute little trick that might help you remember the sign of the value of the power. In other words, when is the power positive and when is the power negative. So even if you don't know the value exactly, you would know what the sign would be. For instance, if I have a negative 10 raised to the 10th power, then even though I may not know the value of it, I know that this is going to be positive. Whereas a negative 10 raised to the 11th power would be negative, and so on. Okay? These are actually very easy to evaluate because the power, the exponent, tells you how many zeros they contain. So this is simply a 1 with 11 zeros. 1, and then you count 11 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There you go. So here is my negative 10 raised to the 11th power. Okay, but that's only the case with a 10. In the next video, we want to look at fractions where the base is a fraction. Like, suppose you have 1/2, say, raised to the 3rd power or something like that. That's what we want to look at. These are called rational numbers, and we're going to look at the evaluating powers of rational numbers. Okay, so now let me say this in Spanish. Aquí lo que estamos haciendo es viendo algunas potencias del 1 negativo, por ejemplo, para ver qué es lo que nos indica el exponente, si nos dice algo sobre el signo del valor de la potencia. So, por ejemplo, aquí, el 1 negativo subido a la potencia 2, me sale un 1 positivo. El 1 negativo a la potencia 3, me sale negativo. El 1 negativo a la potencia 4 me sale positivo. Y esto se ve porque, ¿por qué sale negativo? Porque cuando multiplico 3 factores, 2 de ellos forman un par, pero el último no tiene su par. Y como el par es el que me da el positivo, entonces aquí me va a salir impar. So, impar número de factores me da negativo, par número de factores me da positivo. El exponente 2 es par. Estos números como 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, estos son pares, números pares. So, cuando es par sale positivo. Cuando es impar, el impar es como el 1, el 3, el 5, el 7, el 9, etc. Esos me van a dar un negativo. So, el 1 negativo subido a la potencia 5 me da negativo porque el 5 es impar. El 1 negativo a la potencia 6 me da positivo porque el 6 es par. So, aquí lo que estaba explicando es que cuando eso es cierto, sobre todo las potencias de números negativos que no sean el 1, puede ser 10, 5, 8. El exponente nos dice qué signo va a salir la respuesta, qué signo va a llevar el valor. So, si el exponente es par, sale positivo. Si el exponente es impar, sale negativo. En el próximo video vamos a ver potencias cuando la base es una fracción o un número racional. Y es lo que vamos a examinar en el siguiente video.